Hey everyone, diving right into the latest royal scoop, King Charles's attempt to soothe the ongoing drama with Harry and Meghan is causing quite a stir. Here's the gist. Charles, seemingly fed up with the continuous spotlight on the Sussexes overshadowing his royal work, extended an olive branch to Harry. He invited him to Balmoral for the anniversary of the late Queen's passing. Guess what? Harry said no. But that's not all. Harry's been eyeing a room at Windsor Castle, and Charles, after initially refusing, is now considering giving Harry a UK residence. This isn't sitting well with William, stirring up some royal tension. Harry's position as a Counselor of State requires a UK base, but he's currently settled in sunny California. This move by Charles might be a strategic play, keeping Harry and Meghan closer under royal watch. Their saga has only intensified since Meghan's entry into the scene, with rumors swirling about her using Diana's legacy to boost her profile in the States. Some even whisper about Meghan holding compromising info over the royal family. Could this be a case of subtle blackmail? And let's not forget the potential bombshell if Meghan releases a tell-all book. Such a move could backfire, affecting not just her personal reputation but her acting career too. Now, turning to your thoughts on this, many of you echo the sentiment that Harry's role in the royal family is. Jumping back into the royal rumble, the debate is heating up over Harry's potential return. The consensus among many of you, like Lee, is clear: Harry's comeback isn't exactly a welcome idea in the UK. Teresa chimed in, suggesting that if this news is accurate, the monarchy might be skating on thin ice. Stacey questions Harry's reliability as a Counselor of State, while Jeanette and Anwad feel that if Charles is indeed favoring Harry, it's a betrayal to William. Margaret labels Charles a traitor to his darling boy William, described by her as a spoiled brat, even calling for Charles's abdication. Nancy points out William's dedicated support to King Charles and his protective stance towards the royal family alongside Catherine. It seems many of you, including myself, see William and Catherine as the real pillars of the British monarchy's future, not Harry and Meghan. The thought of Charles bending over backwards for Harry, potentially at William's expense, is baffling to many. Echoing these sentiments, Bella raises concerns about the safety of the royal grandchildren, backing Prince William staunchly. Karen's input is particularly striking. After Harry and Meghan's scathing remarks about the monarchy and racism allegations, she questions the appropriateness of Harry remaining as a Counselor of State. She suggests that if King Charles doesn't revoke this privilege, it undermines the monarchy's credibility. Karen goes as far as to say that if Harry remains in power, perhaps it's time for the monarchy to be dissolved, arguing that the public shouldn't bear the financial burden. I'm with you, Karen. Harry's position as Counselor of State seems incongruous, especially given his current standing with the royal family. And then there's Mrs. Tigger, or is it Mr. Stigger? My apologies for the mix-up, who doubts Charles would allow personal feelings to overshadow his kingly duties. He might be a father, but as king, he's got some tough decisions too. Diving deeper into the royal drama, it's clear the situation is complex. Mrs. Tigger, echoing the thoughts of many, hopes King Charles, guided by his advisors, will make the right call, even if he personally leans towards accommodating Harry. Helen's comment strikes a chord, expressing a sentiment shared by many. The disappointment and hurt caused by Harry's actions towards the Queen are deep and long-lasting. For Helen, and others, forgiveness isn't on the cards. Helen Croissant voices a concern about King Charles's popularity, fearing he might lose public support if he doesn't revoke Harry's Counselor of State status. There's a strong belief that Harry could once again cause turmoil for the royal family. I'm with you on this. Facing blackmail, the best strategy might be transparency, rendering the blackmailer powerless. Virginia's comment hits home too. She reflects a growing sentiment that the monarchy's future is at stake, with or without William. The public's disdain for Harry and Meghan is palpable, and there's a real concern about how this will impact the king's decisions and the monarchy's standing. Glenys brings a heartfelt perspective, sympathizing with William. She notes his years of support for Harry, his discretion, and his inherently different nature from his brother. William's cautious approach to marriage, giving Catherine time to fully understand and embrace royal life, contrasts sharply with Harry's swift decision. Catherine's adaptation to royal life and her role as a cherished member of the royal family and a public role model is a testament to this thoughtful approach. She's become a beloved figure, embodying the grace and commitment expected of. Let's delve into what makes the royal siblings and their spouses so distinct. Catherine's charm and grounded nature have won the hearts of many, including the late Queen Elizabeth, who clearly approved of William's choice. This was evident in the joy visible on her face during their wedding, a stark contrast to the reactions observed at Harry and Meghan's nuptials. The family's expressions hinted at underlying tensions, later linked to Meghan's alleged behavior towards Charlotte, Catherine, and palace staff. Reports of staff resignations following her arrival paint a picture of discontent, with many relieved at her departure. This has fueled a strong public sentiment against her and Harry's return to the UK. Your comments reflect this, pointing out the stark differences between the brothers. William is often seen as the more composed and value-driven, while Harry's actions are sometimes viewed as less commendable. This disparity extends to their spouses, highlighting the vastly different paths they've taken. ET2's comment cuts deep, expressing relief that the royal family has distanced itself from Harry and Meghan. The memory of Meghan's controversial curtsy, perceived as mocking the late Queen, remains a sore point for many, including Mary Riley. Mary speaks for a lot of you when she says that was the ultimate breaking point. The disappointment and frustration are clear. It's a sentiment echoed across the board, underscoring the deep divide that has formed not just within the royal family, but also among the public observing these unfolding events. Indeed, the contrast between the brothers and their life choices highlights a rift that seems to. The debate rages on about the respect, or lack thereof, shown to the Queen by Harry and Meghan. Mary's indignation is shared by many. She demands the removal of their royal titles, questioning King Charles's actions in this scenario. While it's not entirely in Charles's hands, as Parliament plays a role, the public's expectation for action is palpable. The frustration with King Charles is a recurring theme. Amy labels him a weak king, criticizing his handling of Harry, whom she describes as a manipulative brat of a treasonous son. Her words are sharp, reflecting a sentiment that the king might be compromising the monarchy's safety for familial ties. Robin's comment offers an alternative perspective, imagining a world where Prince William, admired for his stature and wisdom, might find a warmer welcome in the US. There's even a playful suggestion of him running for office, a notion that resonates with many. Mads brings up concerns about King Charles III's leadership, particularly in the face of potential constitutional crises. Doubts about Harry's capability to effectively step in for his father are raised, questioning not just his intellectual suitability but also the potential impact on the monarchy. Maria's comment echoes this sentiment, sympathizing with William and asserting that Charles's decisions indicate a preference for Harry over the monarchy. She suggests it might be time for Charles to step aside for someone more capable. And then there's Cecilia's response, adding another layer to the ongoing discussion. She highlights the complex dynamics at play, suggesting that the issue goes beyond mere familial loyalty. The royal family's actions, or inactions, continue to. The conversation continues with opinions flying in from all corners. Opley brings up an interesting point about King Charles III possibly keeping Harry in the Council of State but under strict conditions. The idea of tough love is floated, with suggestions like truth-telling about family matters, possibly a divorce, and mandatory mental health therapy. It's a scenario that paints a challenging but possible road back for Harry. But the question remains, does Harry have the resilience to follow this path, and does King Charles have the resolve to enforce it? Amapola's comment cuts straight to the chase, calling Charles an idiot if he retains Harry as a counselor of state. It's a sentiment shared by many, reflecting a deep-seated frustration with the current royal dynamics. 63 Kelsey hopes the rumors aren't true, voicing concerns over the potential public backlash. The call is for King Charles to stand firm, to not appear weak by yielding to what is perceived as Harry's disrespectful and damaging behavior, particularly towards the late Queen and Prince Philip. Audrey's mom doesn't mince words either, branding King Charles a fool if he easily forgives Harry. She highlights a potential tidal wave of disgust from the British public should Harry be allowed back. The sentiment is strong. Past actions should not be easily overlooked or forgiven. There's a sense that Diana, were she still around, would have been deeply The royal debate heats up with strong opinions from every corner. Catherine's critique of Charles is harsh, predicting the potential damage to his familial relationships if he makes certain decisions. It's a sentiment echoed by many, reflecting deep concerns over the monarch's choices. JC weighs in on Harry's departure from England, pointing out his clear stance against the royal family, which he and Meghan have openly criticized. JC suggests that Harry's choices might not have been the wisest, questioning his judgment and possible regrets. Chevy's sarcastic suggestion about Harry and Meghan wearing signs to highlight their connections to Diana captures the public's perception of their actions. It's a nod to the belief that they've been using Diana's legacy to their advantage. Paula, always a familiar voice, raises serious doubts about King Charles's judgment. She questions his mental health if he truly believes Harry is fit to serve as a counselor of state. Her stark conclusion is that if Charles can't see the situation clearly, maybe it's time for William to step up. The idea of Harry returning as the prodigal son is, to Paula, an unlikely scenario. Regarding Soho House, Paula's curiosity leads to an interesting point. As understood, Soho House is seen as an exclusive club for the elite, a place where the rich and powerful indulge in activities considered taboo by societal standards. This includes alleged drug use and sexual escapades, painting a picture of a hidden world of luxury, and the royal discussion continues with a focus on Soho House's reputation. There's talk about it being an elite hub for the wealthy, engaging in activities that skirt the edge of legality. Not everyone there may partake in illegal activities, but as the saying goes, we are often judged by the company we keep. Soho House, in this context, is not seen as a place for those who prioritize family values, but rather as a hotspot for debauchery. Sue's perspective on Harry and Meghan is quite blunt. She sees them as partners in crime, creating chaos wherever they go. Sue acknowledges, albeit grudgingly, their knack for stirring up drama, an ability that has kept them in the public eye. Pam expresses deep disappointment with King Charles, especially if he continues to support Harry after his and Meghan's accusations of racism and their treatment of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Pam, like many others, feels betrayed by Charles's actions and is particularly critical of his decision to title his wife Queen. Carol sarcastically suggests that Charles is coddling Harry, treating him like a child in need of constant care. This sentiment reflects a frustration with what is perceived as Harry's overly sheltered and privileged position. Susan Hoyes urges King Charles to emulate his mother's strength and not be played by Harry. She warns that succumbing to Harry's manipulations could lead to regret, a sentiment echoed by many who view Harry's actions as potentially detrimental to the monarchy. Glennie Sterry proposes a strategic idea, buying a house for Harry but putting it in William's name, giving William the authority to manage Harry's actions. This idea is met with approval, seen as a clever way to maintain control over the situation. And then Jeannie adds her thoughts, contributing to the ongoing debate with her unique perspective. The opinions are diverse, but the underlying theme is a deep concern for the future of. Jeannie's comment brings a crucial point to the forefront. Harry, having left the royal family, shouldn't expect to retain his privileges, especially given the accusations he's levied against them. This sentiment resonates with many who feel that Harry and Meghan's departure should mark the end of their royal benefits. Sonia introduces a compelling theory that Harry might be holding something over Charles, which could explain the leniency he's been shown. This idea of hidden leverage is intriguing and adds another layer to the complex royal dynamics. Andrea's comment is straightforward, a call for Harry to be ousted from his royal roles. Mary Tin echoes this sentiment, expressing distress in King Charles due to his perceived favoritism towards Harry, despite Harry's actions against the late Queen Elizabeth. Bi6's comment takes a darker tone, suggesting a triumph of evil in the ongoing saga. Jill Fish proposes a more drastic solution for Harry, recommending a sanatorium for dealing with alleged drug abuse and mental health issues. Addressing a rumor from a previous video about Catherine's pregnancy, I clarify that it was never stated as a fact, but rather discussed as an unconfirmed rumor. The speculation around this remains unverified, and no harm was intended in discussing the excitement surrounding the potential news. Moving on, several comments cast a critical eye on King Charles. JMA fears that if the rumors are true, it would portray the king as weak. Emertal expresses shock at the possibility of Charles's actions, suggesting they could hurt the feelings of other royals and portray him as lacking strength. Bice's comment concludes with a dire prediction: Harry could be the downfall of. The conversation on royal affairs continues to heat up. PN9's comment highlights a sense of urgency, suggesting that laws and royal decrees are changeable and that King Charles needs to act decisively like his mother did. The sentiment is clear: Charles must demonstrate strength and resolve in dealing with the Harry and Meghan situation. Echoing this, Poppy reflects on Prince Philip's views, suggesting that Charles lacks the necessary toughness to make difficult decisions. This viewpoint is supported by Mamie, who believes Charles's perceived weakness could endanger the monarchy itself. Janie voices concerns about Harry's reliability, especially in crucial roles or near Kensington Palace. The consensus is that Harry poses a risk, particularly to William and Catherine's family. Dottie calls the idea of letting Harry back in crazy, a sentiment shared by many. Gabe Grace, however, presents a different angle, stating that Harry has no obligation to royalty anymore, indicating a break from traditional expectations. Wendy hopes Harry stays far from the royal family, with Claire McCarthy calling for Charles to step down due to his weakness. This word weak seems to resonate with many, reflecting a collective disappointment in Charles's handling of the situation. Yvonne expresses a sense of betrayal, feeling let down by King Charles. Irene, on the other hand, calls for truth in reporting, emphasizing the importance of accuracy in media. Rhonda brings up a point of confusion, clarifying that while Harry lost his military titles, he still remains a counselor of state. This distinction is significant, as it implies ongoing official roles within the royal family despite the earlier removal of certain honors. The addition of and the royal discussion continues with varied perspectives. Denny compares Harry's behavior to that of a child throwing tantrums, suggesting he's used to getting his way. Kathy firmly believes Harry should be stripped of all titles, echoing a widespread sentiment. Catherine Pulley offers a different take, trusting that King Charles has significant reasons for his decisions, possibly beyond what's visible to the public. Vivian, however, feels strongly that Harry should not reside on royal properties and should seek accommodation elsewhere. Sandra advocates for a wait-and-see approach, appreciating the importance of verifying facts before jumping to conclusions. Sarah Blunt is less reserved in her critique of Charles, questioning his fitness to be king and pointing out his inability to manage his son and wife's actions. She also raises an environmental query about Charles's own carbon footprint, highlighting a potential hypocrisy in his environmental advocacy. G presents a compassionate view, urging Prince William to respect his father's decisions and trust in a higher understanding. This comment stands out for its empathetic tone in a sea of criticisms. Skepticism also finds its place in the conversation. DK expresses disbelief in the reported events, while user MN criticizes the use of misleading titles in discussions about the royal family, indicating a need for accuracy and truth in reporting. The array of opinions reflects the deep divisions and strong emotions the royal family saga continues to evoke. People are clearly invested in every twist and turn, scrutinizing each move and its implications for the monarchy's future. And then, moving on to the next segment of comments, we find MN's comment brings up an important issue in modern media: the concern over clickbait and the integrity of reporting. This criticism, calling for more responsible journalism, is a valid reminder of the need for accuracy and honesty in sharing news. Responding to this feedback, I acknowledge the importance of careful titling and reporting. It's a commitment to avoid misleading information and to provide the most accurate news possible. I appreciate this input as it helps maintain the standards of responsible journalism. Furthering the discussion, Marian shares her view on King Charles, describing him as a weak man who fails to make sound decisions. She suggests that it might be time for him to step aside and let Prince William lead, a sentiment that seems to resonate with several others. As the conversation wraps up, it's clear that the royal family's actions and decisions continue to spark a wide range of emotions and opinions. The depth of public interest in these matters underscores the enduring influence and fascination with the monarchy. Thank you to everyone for sharing your thoughts and opinions. It's your engagement that keeps the discussion lively and insightful. And with that, we move on to the next topic in the ever-evolving saga of the British royal family.